Hey there, Tulio Pena here, realtor based right here in Colorado Springs. If you're thinking about relocating to the Springs or just curious what it actually costs to live here in 2025, you're in the right place. In today's video, I'm breaking down the real cost of living in Colorado Springs this year. We're going to look at housing, utilities, taxes, groceries, gas prices, and even HOA fees. As someone who's helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes across this area, I've seen the numbers and I know what things really cost. So let's dive in. Let's start with the big one. Housing. As of mid-2025, the median sales price for a single family home in Colorado Springs is hovering around $485,000. That's slightly down from the peak we saw in 2022, but still a significant jump from prices just 5 years ago. For around $400,000 to $450,000, you can find a modest 3-bedroom, sometimes a 4-bedroom home in a neighborhood like Fountain, Security Widefield, or some parts of the Powers Corridor like the original Stetson Hills or the original parts of Springs Ranch. If you're looking in neighborhoods like Briargate or Cordera or Wolf Ranch or Flying Horse, you're more likely to start in the 600s to the 750 range, depending on lot size and upgrades. Brand new construction, expect starting prices to be more around $525,000 and up, with incentives depending on the builder. Renters, let's talk numbers for you. A 1-bedroom apartment averages around $1,350 to $1,600 a month. A 3-bedroom rental can run anywhere from $2,000 to $2,700, depending on the neighborhood and the condition. Now, keep in mind, rents have stabilized a bit since the craziness of 2021 and 2022, all the way through 23, but they're still far from cheap. And with high interest rates, many buyers are doing the rent versus buy math more carefully than ever. Next up, utilities. In Colorado Springs, we're fortunate to have Colorado Springs Utilities, which provides bundled electricity, gas, water, and wastewater services. That means one bill and one provider. And I'll be honest, it's generally well managed and reliable. Now, there's plenty of outlying areas around Colorado Springs proper where you may have a different water provider, a different electrical provider, or gas provider. But if you are in the more of the heart of Colorado Springs, it's pretty nice to have one bill. So here's a typical monthly breakdown for most homeowners I work with. In the winter, you'll spend more on gas for heating. So your bill might look more like $300 to $325 monthly. And that's focusing on like 4 people in a household and a home of, around 2,000 to about 2,500 square feet. In the summertime, water becomes a bigger cost, especially if you have a lawn and a sprinkler system. Bills can easily range to $275 to $325 a month, depending on your watering schedule and your utilization of air conditioning. Smaller homes or more water efficient yards, you could be closer to $225 or $250 for those types of properties. Trash collection is usually handled separately, not by your city. I've lived in parts of the country where it's part of your taxes. In Colorado Springs, it's usually not. Most people go with a private service like Waste Connections or Waste Management or Springs Waste. Expect to pay $25 to $40 a month, depending on your provider and the level of service. Some people or families are going to need 2 tubs on wheels, and if you like to recycle, that's usually an extra expense. Pro tip, some HOAs include trash in the dues. More on that in a bit. Let's talk about taxes because they can sneak up on folks moving here from other states. Property taxes in El Paso County are generally considered low to moderate. On average, you'll pay about 0.5% to 0.6% on your home's assessed value annually. New or newer home communities could be up to 1% of the assessed value due to special taxing districts. So if you buy a $500,000 home, your property taxes might land somewhere between $2,500 to $5,000 per year, or around $210 to as high as $417 per month if you're escrowing that with your mortgage. Sales tax is another factor. In the city of Colorado Springs, total sales tax is 8.2%. If you're in unincorporated El Paso County or a smaller town nearby, that might drop slightly. We don't have a state income tax like California, but Colorado does have a flat income tax, currently at 4.4%. For most working families, that's a pretty manageable rate. So overall, taxes are not the cheapest, but they're also not out of control compared to national averages. If you're commuting or driving kids around town, let's talk about gas prices. As of summer of 2025, AAA fuel price reports that current averages in Colorado Springs is around 2.92 or $2.92 for regular, $3.32 for mid-grade, and $3.66 for premium. And for diesel, it's hovering around $3.48, so $3.48, depending on the part of town and the gas station. There's some gas stations like Murphy's. That's always a good little best kept secret. They tend to have really good prices. So those prices are slightly higher than national averages, largely because Colorado fuel blending requires a little bit of a differences because of the altitude, but we're still doing better than California and say Washington State and other coastal towns. Most people in the Springs own at least one car, and public transportation is pretty limited here. If you're commuting to places like Fort Carson or Peterson Air Force Base or Schriever Space Force Base or the Air Force Academy, expect a 25 to 35 minute drive during rush hour, really depending on where you live. If you're budgeting for gas, I'd say the average family spends around $250 to as much as $400 per month, depending on the commute and the vehicle type. Groceries in Colorado Springs are in line with national averages, though you'll notice some inflation sticking around. Here's what I'm seeing at the checkout. A gallon of milk runs about $3.75 to $4.25. A dozen eggs is still fluctuating, but usually $3 to $4. Bread around $2.50 to $3.50. Chicken breast around $3.25 to as high as $4.50 per pound. And we've got all the major stores like King Soopers, which is a Kroger's company, Safeway, Walmart, Costco, Trader Joe's, Sam's, Natural Grocers, and Whole Foods. Costco and Sam's are still your best bet when it comes to feeding the family, especially if you're, I'll say, on a budget or if you're accustomed to buying in bulk. The average monthly grocery bill for a family of four is roughly $900 to $1,200, depending on how often you dine out, shop organic, or entertain. If you're a single or a couple, you could easily be in the $400 to $650 range monthly. Let's touch on HOAs because they're common here, especially in newer developments and master plan communities. HOA dues in Colorado Springs vary a lot depending on location and amenities. Here's a general idea. Basic single-family neighborhoods, $35 to $65 a month. This usually covers common areas, landscaping, and maybe trash pickup. Master plan communities like Banning Lewis Ranch, Flying Horse, Wolf Ranch, or maybe Meridian Ranch are going to fall more between $100 to $180 a month, with access to more amenities like pools, fitness centers, more parks, trails, community events, and more. Townhomes or condos with, say, shared walls, expect higher dues, $200 to $350 per month, often including exterior maintenance, roof reserves, and snow removal. So make sure to factor HOA dues into your monthly affordability and double check what's included. Sometimes those fees actually save you money in other areas. So there you have it, a full breakdown on what it really costs to live in Colorado Springs in 2025. Let's do a quick recap. Housing, $485,000 for a median home, or say approximately $2,000 to about $2,700 per month. Utilities, $275 to about $325 monthly on average. Trash, between about $25 to $40 depending on your needs. Property taxes, around a 0.5% to as high as 1% for newer stuff. Gas, $2.92 to as high as $3.66 per gallon. Groceries, $900 to about $1,200 per month per family. HOAs ranging from $35 to $350 per month, depending on the neighborhood and the amenities provided. If you're considering a move or you're here and want to make sure your money is going to the right places, we'd be honored to be a resource. We can help you figure out where to live based on your budget, lifestyle, commute, and family needs. Drop a comment below if you got questions or if there's a neighborhood you want me to feature next. Hit like or subscribe if this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode of Colorado Springs on the Move.